Tune into ESG Matters with Risk Insights, where we explore ESG with impact. Welcome back to another episode of ESG Matters with Risk Insights. I'm your host, Anushka Bogdanov, and today, as always, we are looking at global trends through a lens of justice, resilience, and relevance, especially for emerging markets like Africa. We will be diving into a topic that hits right at the heart of power dynamics in economics and corporate behavior, from the Trump tariffs to bullying tactics by global firms, to what we as nations and businesses can do to reclaim power and build sustainable futures. I had planned to discuss the book Why the West Rules for Now by Ian Morris. While time passed and life brought many things to my doorstep over the past few weeks, here we are today. The show must go on. Today, a shockwave rippled through the global markets. President Donald Trump has once again turned to tariffs as a tool of economic nationalism, and this time the world is watching with bated breath. On the 2nd of April, President Trump announced a sweeping wave of tariffs, including a 10% blanket tariff on all imported goods, significantly higher targeted tariffs for specific countries, China at 34%, Vietnam at 46%, India at 26%, and even long-standing allies weren't spared, with the EU, Japan, and the UK, together with South Korea, now facing stiff new rates. Only Mexico and Canada managed to avoid the sharp end of this new policy shift. And now let's not forget a 25% tariff on all imported cars and auto parts was also introduced. This is not just about trade anymore. This is about shifting alliances, redefining power, and using economics as a political weapon. Now, there's always the good, the bad, and the ugly. So for the good, it's a wake-up call for domestic production. Now, let's be fair. Some see this as a necessary jolt, a way to rebuild America's industrial base, revive its domestic manufacturing, protect jobs, and it can be used strategically. So tariffs can give the local industries in America breathing room to grow, innovate, and compete. That's the optimistic lens. Let's talk about the bad. There's rising prices and global retaliation that will take place. The downside we cannot ignore. Tariffs drive up the cost of goods, hurting consumers and small businesses. Trade partners will retaliate. Already China and the EU and others are preparing countermeasures. And let's not forget, the world is still healing from COVID-related supply chain chaos. These moves risk reigniting global trade wars at the worst possible time. Then there's the ugly side, the use of tariffs not as tools of fair trade, but as weapons of intimidation and coercion. This kind of unilateral action doesn't build trust. It undermines multilateralism, shatters cooperation, and sends chilling messages to smaller economies. It punishes not only governments, but startups, small businesses, and innovators, especially in emerging markets like Africa. So where does this leave Africa? Once again, we are on the receiving end of decisions made in Washington, Brussels, or Beijing, decisions that ripple through our economies, supply chains, and social structures. But here's the opportunity. Africa does not have to be a spectator. These global shifts are a call for us to double down on resilience, on regional integration, and domestic innovation. It is our time to use our natural resources wisely, invest in green energy, and build industries that aren't at the mercy of external politics. Trump's tariffs may be the headline today, but the real story is how we respond. As governments, businesses, and citizens, do we fold under pressure, or do we rise and redesign our economies for independence and impact? Because here's the truth. Tariffs in isolation don't build resilience. They isolate economies. What we are seeing is a domino effect, a protectionist wave that, while claiming to protect, actually punishes. Not just the giants, but the underdogs too. Now that we've unpacked the global power moves like Trump's tariffs, let's bring the lens a little closer to home. Because these same dynamics, the dominance, the coercion, the silencing, don't only play out between nations. They happen every day in boardrooms, in contracts, in emails, in tone. And they are just as devastating. Trump moved from being a corporate bully to a global power player. And in many ways, we are now living the ripple effects of that same playbook, the same blueprint of power used to extract, intimidate, and overwhelm. So, what is corporate bullying? It is when large firms use their position, their brand, their legal muscle, and their deep rooted connections to silence, threaten, or coerce smaller players. It's the refusal to play fair, not just because they can't win honestly, but because they've decided the rules don't apply to them. And if we're being honest here, we've seen it. I've seen it at Risk Insights. I won't go into the legal side. That's not what today is about. But I'll speak about the tone, the gatekeeping, the tactics designed to drain energy, time, reputation, and resources until small businesses either walk away or bow down. Let's be absolutely clear. When large businesses use their scale to bully small companies, it's not just unethical. It's a direct threat to the ecosystem that drives progress. It's the classic David and Goliath, but in small businesses version. David doesn't just have a slingshot. He or she or the SME are building the economics of Africa's future, and they deserve a seat at the table. This kind of bullying doesn't just break balance sheets. It breaks spirits. It isolates founders. It scares off funders. It suffocates innovation. And when that innovation comes from a continent that has been working overtime to rise, from centuries of extraction and exclusion, it's not just bullying anymore. It's economic oppression. So those listening who are part of large organizations, I ask you, how are you using your power? Are you mentoring the next generation or marginalizing them? Are you creating space for emerging markets to breathe or tightening the noose because you are afraid of what they might become? We cannot build resilient, just, and relevant economies if we don't call this out, especially when we see how this is directly impacting sustainability, a principle that stands for inclusivity and not exclusion. There is no space for firms that claim to do ESG advisory or embed sustainability into their models, but yet refuse to live those values. So choose collaboration over coercion. Choose respect over control, and choose dignity for everyone at the table. The future will not be built by the biggest. It will be built by the boldest. And Africa, despite every challenge, continues to show up with boldness, brilliance, and belief that we are not just recipients of decisions made elsewhere. We are architects of our own future. Now let's talk about resilience, a word we throw around a lot, but rarely stop to define. Real resilience isn't about isolation. It's not about closing borders or retreating inward. It's about diversification, innovation, and creating systems that can adapt and thrive, even in a storm. Africa is a resource-rich continent, from minerals to agriculture to young human capital. Yet we continue to export raw materials and import value-added products. That cycle doesn't build resilience. It bleeds potential. To truly stand tall in global markets, we must plow into our own capabilities. That means investing in what matters. For example, education and skills, so our young people don't just consume knowledge, they create it. Infrastructure, so that roads, digital networks, energy systems that connect ideas to impact. The green energy transition, not just because it's trendy, but because it's our path to sustainable independence. And perhaps most critically, SME support. Our small businesses are the engine of local economies, but they need room to breathe, capital to grow, and partners who believe in them. Resilience isn't about closing borders, it's about opening minds. Africa has every resource, natural and human, to lead. We are our own solution, and the time to act is now. Earlier this month, we had the opportunity to take Africa's voice to London. as part of a powerful gathering at the London School of Economics at the Feroz Lalji Institute for Africa, led by Professor Tim Allen. And let me tell you, it wasn't just a trip, it was a turning point. We didn't go to London to be seen, we went to be heard. And what came out of those rooms was an affirmation: Africa matters. Our ideas matter. Our experiences matter. Our relevance, resourcefulness, rigor, and reputation, they all matter. Some of the themes that emerged were clear. Africa's potential is undertold, not underdeveloped. Resilience isn't just something we aspire to. It's part of our history. It's baked into how we've survived. Now we must bake it into how we design our future. A new research paper is underway capturing these ideas and laying a foundation for deeper inquiry, stronger partnerships, and richer narratives about Africa's global role. We shared ideas, we found alignment, and more importantly, with the Feroz Lalji Institute of Africa, led by Professor Tim Allen, through the London School of Economics, we built a bridge, one that connects research, policy, practice, and purpose. As we close today's episode of ESG Matters with Risk Insights, remember this. Resilience isn't given, it's built. It's built through bold decisions, inclusive partnerships, and standing tall when it's easier to fold. Tariffs may shake markets, corporates may throw their weight around, but Africa, she's rising, not just as a follower, but as a force. We are here to be included. We are here to lead with purpose, power, and pride. Thanks for tuning into this episode of ESG Matters with Risk Insights. If today's conversation sparked new ideas or thoughts, challenged your perspective, or reminded you why this work matters, don't keep it to yourself. Don't forget to like this episode, share it with your network, and hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. Until next time, stay resilient, stay relevant, and stay rooted in justice. I'm Anushka Bogdanov, and this is ESG Matters with Risk Insights. Ciao for now.